Bless all the paths our feet walk to be free. Bless all the paths our feet walk to be free. Yeah.
Ooh, attuned beings. Can everyone hear this? Ooh, very attuned beings. Can everyone hear this? Oh, masters of the universe. Very good, very good. So, my name is Machna. Some of you may know me as Mark, but after so long on a spiritual journey, one must change his name to match the vibration of the spirit within, a name that contains the vibration of the universe. I have exact translation written right down here. It is a Palladian word. It comes from the seventh house of Gamdron and the order of the empty space. The exact translation is one who walks with belly of Buddha. Yes, that is what it means. You see, the Buddha teaches us balance. That means for every 2 donuts I eat with my left hand, I must eat 2 donuts with my right hand. It is about balance, yes. You see, there's a lot of wisdom between the donut. The donut teaches us what is and what is not. And it has been written in the ancient scrolls all about the donut. We feel it. We know its texture. We know its flavor and form. Yet each donut contains a hole of empty space. Yes. We see the hole. We can look through it, knowing there is warmth and happiness all around it, sweet, tasty molecules of joy. Yet as we eat the donut, does the hole disappear? When we are done with the donut, is the hole gone? This is the wisdom of the donut. I have sacrificed my life for the people and spent many hours meditating upon the wisdom of the donut. And I know you're asking yourself right now, you're saying, Machna, how can you have become so enlightened? Well, I'll tell you this. See, I thought I'd talk to the Lord one day, had things on life I wanted to say, like who we are and why we're really here. You know, I studied a bit from some of the clubs with their different rules and a lot of hubbub of how to live and where and when to pray. You know, like who was right and who was wrong, and is that trip back home real long? And is heaven real or just a state of mind? Well, I started Catholic with all their cants, saints and sinners and all their rants, and is this wine or really human blood? So I hung with the Buddhists, chilled with the monks, learned to chant and all of that junk, and I was really learning how to be sublime. Then I sweated out my sins, you see, tended their fire and burnt my knee. But the buffalo and the coyote became my friends. But still I saw a different route. It leads to the top without a doubt. So here I go, I'm gonna be a star. I knew if I kept real strong, the Lord would never do me wrong, and I would finally find my place of Zen. Yes, I'd be the one to declare why we're here and even from where. And all the world would know that I was blessed. I wanted the answers. I wanted the lines to questions of wars and some of the crimes. And why does life seem to be so hard and grim? With some of the folks controlling others, deadbeat dads and crying mothers and children growing up with too many fears. So what's the buzz? What's it about? What's that plan? Because there seems to be doubt of who and why and where and all that is. Well, sometimes when that answer comes, your brain starts to get real numb when you see how plain and simple things really are. You see, you have the answers, you always had. Ever since you've been a lass or a lad, you sang the song that tells life's big scheme. So that's how she goes, that's all she wrote, that little old song about rowing your boat. And I guess it's true, folks, life is but a dream. Yes, yes, happy joy, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. So that is just being silly, and you're probably asking, Mark, what are you doing now? What is this talk about? It's about popping the bubbles of Dogma. And I'm going to lose this hat because I'm already hot up here. This is actually my Greek fisherman's cap. But if you wear it nowadays, you just look like you're part of the village people. So I thought, well, what would that look like for New Agers? In the new age, you can send it to the light. In the new age, take your power back from your fright. Anyway, being silly day, this is about popping the bubbles of Dogma. And we all have different dogma, and I have no problem being silly, but we have different rules of engagement about how we're supposed to show up in our spirituality and in our lives. Actually, get this back in my hand. No, I'm not. Hello. So, as we as New Agers have all our dialogue, our tools, our bells, and our stuff that we wear, and makes us more spiritual, doesn't it? We got to make fun of ourselves. We have our own set of dialogue. We have our own set of dogma. We have healers telling us that we have cords wrapped around our heart, and we have to unstring them and cut the strings and wrap it in a bubble and send it to the light. It's like, wow, that's a lot of work to do. So I thought about this, and I thought about what heaven was in the past and what it's become since New Agers came along. So for the past few thousand years, you had the masters that are up there. And there's all the different departments in heaven. There's like the prayer department, and there's the meditation department, and all the different departments for all the religions, because they think theirs is the only true religion. So there's the Baptists and the Catholics and the Buddhists and Hindus, and everybody's got their own room. All the masters are just kind of hanging out with themselves anyway, because they lost their religion a long time ago. So there's Buddha, there's Jesus, there's Krishna, Vishnu, Gandhi's up there, plenty more up there, just hanging out, being with each other. And we as New Age are doing all this New Age work, where we're attuning our energies. And we're taking back our power from things and wrapping it in a bubble and sending it up to the universe. And one day they're just hanging up there. And this bubble goes flying up. And Jesus is like, well, what the hell was that? And Gandhi's like, I believe it is a bubble. What's in it? He's like, it is a cord of anguish and negative energy. We don't want that crap up here. Where did it come from? I believe it is from Bob. Well, who's it to? It says the universe. And then the next thing you know, another bubble comes floating up. What's that? It is from Sally. She took her power back from her boss, and she wrapped it and sent it to the universe. Well, what are we supposed to do with all this? So just picture this now. You've got all these ascended masters running around chasing bubbles. The universe has stopped in its expansion because we have all these bubbles going up there, and they're just like looking about what to do with it. So they're thinking, what do we do? What do we do? Bubbles, bubbles, bubbles all over the place. Gandhi's having a blast because he just, oh, bubbles, bubbles, I like bubbles. And then Einstein comes in. He's like, pop them. What do you mean pop them? He's like, it's just energy anyway. Pop them. So now they're going around popping bubbles, and Gandhi's like, pop, pop, pop. And Buddha's like, pop one, rest. Pop one, rest. It's all about balance. But then all the bubbles are coming all over the place, and Jesus finally just goes, pop yourselves! And about 100,000 bubbles pop at one time. So, still the universe is now busy with all the masters chasing bubbles and popping them for us. So, as New Agers, sometimes we have to make fun of ourselves in these dogmas that we do. And even the people that we honor and love. For example, I shared this one with Mel a little bit the other day, and see if I can remember this and get it right. Gandhi, as we know, mostly walked around barefoot, so his feet were torn up. He really didn't eat a lot with his hunger strikes and things like that, so it kind of made him weak and frail. And because of his diet, and what lack of diet he had, and then what he did eat because of his culture, he kind of had bad breath. So I guess you would call him a super callous, fragile mystic hexed with halitosis. That was dry. I need a drink after that one. That one I heard from somewhere. Probably on Facebook. So, where am I? Because I'm somewhat scripted and somewhat not. So making fun of different things, making fun of us in our language as New Agers. I mean, what would a New Age single bar look like? Hey, nice chakras. Guys to each other, hey, did you see the Kundalini on that one? And just breathing into it and just knowing, like, it's like, how would you like to come up to my place and play with my crystals? Maybe we can do some yoga together. My Swami just showed me some new moves. Guaranteed to have us oming by the end of the night. And just breathing in and having fun. And what do girls say to each other? So how was your date with Mark? Well, he just kept trying to get into my second chakra. Well, what'd you tell him? I took my power back from him, and I told him if he kept it up and didn't calm his fire energy down, I was going to astral project him into his past life. Are you going to see him again? Well, I wasn't going to, but I think I might because I heard he's got a really big energy field. And the friend goes, you know, I heard there's an oil for that. My sister's husband, she loves her husband, but she's always kind of complaining that he kind of had a small one, energy field that is. So she went to an essentials oil seminar and she put 2 drops of this in his water every day, and it's doubled in size in 2 days. Really? Yeah. She goes, what's it called? It's called Viora. But this is really strong stuff, so it has to be in a glass bottle. Because if you put it in plastic, it'll really affect it, and you might just shrink his aura down to smaller than it was before. And then meanwhile, the sister's saying, well, have you seen your sister lately? And she's like, no, I guess they've been doing a lot of breath work with each other lately, ever since he got his Viora. And what do guys say to each other? Hey, bro, so how'd it go with that girl the other night? Well, I asked her up to see my crystals and told her I'd like to clear her kundalini, if you know what I mean. Well, what happened? Well, she whipped out a dead owl head and a skunk pelt and told me it was good medicine. Said it would help me see how I was leaking my sexual energy and it would be ruining my reputation. I was like, oh, man, I'm sorry about that. How'd you take it? Well, I will admit it did put my Venus in retrograde. I said, Venus, breathe. But that's okay. I talked to my astrologer, and he says right now it's really just the way her moon is in conflict with her Mercury in transition. But if I'm willing to be patient and just held out to the end of the cycle, she'll be more than happy to see my Pluto ascending. So, and the brother and the friend goes, oh, cool. Hey, have you tried Viora? Hey, I don't need that. I'm only 52 years old. He's like, I'm just saying. And just out of curiosity, what do New Agers cry out during sex? Oh, cosmic consciousness. Oh, universe. Is that what they cry? Because, I mean, God got us all that is. That's a mouthful. And what about after? The woman is like, oh my, that was wonderful. I felt my soul leave my body. I felt like I traveled into the 5th dimension, touching the fabric of non-time and non-space. I felt the bliss of oneness and cosmic unity. And the guy's like, I was thinking about making a sandwich. Oh, and by the way, thanks for that new glass water bottle. She goes, you're welcome. So what's the point of all this? Being silly and making fun of this and doing comedy. Is sometimes we take ourselves in our own spirituality way too seriously. We get caught up in using spiritual words like namaste and namtakwayasa and less time on feeling the meaning of the words. And there's nothing wrong with using these words. I use them all the time. Like, hey, Mark, you want to come over for tofu and channeling? Namaste home. I'm going to practice my mantras and blend with the ascended masters and the Akashic records. I stole that one from Melanie. Nothing wrong with any of it. It's all about having fun. It's about being silly, having fun, using the tools if you want to use them, and then knowing that this is just a bowl. That is just a piece of metal. And those things do help. They're fun. But they help us as the human being. They do not help God. God is fine. God got us. All that is, the universe of created consciousness is A-OK. All these wonderful things we do, we sometimes get stuck in our spirituality. We get stuck about, well, I need to practice being a spiritual being. No, you don't. You need to practice being a human being. Spiritual being is fine. The human being is the one that needs practice. The human being is the one that's been inundated with all the crap that we've been inundated with throughout our lives. Good, bad, and indifferent. Some of us Some of us have misinterpreted the good things that have happened in our life because of where we were in that moment, what perspective we were going through. We didn't even realize that it was a good thing that happened. So it's about being the human being and practicing more of that. We need to live that dream that I was talking about of life is but a dream and practice being a good human. You think God needs ceremonies? The ceremonies are not for God, the universe, creator, whatever dimension you want to talk about. It's for us, the human beings, and whatever physical beings may be in this universe that we just haven't met yet. I'm sure they have their rituals and ceremonies to help them be better beings, to act better with each other, because that's what this is really all about. They help us be better people. Everything is sacred. Everything. You can do a ceremony if you want, and who cares if you mess it up? Native American ceremony, we have sweat lodges, and we have a thing called the spirit trail, and the big taboo is don't cross the spirit trail. And God forbid you cross the spirit trail. You really think it's going to piss off the ancestors, the non-physical people? Do you really, isn't that a human trait to get offended? The gods are going to go, oh, sweat lodge over, we're not coming in, you cross the spirit trail. You people that are in there praying, time's up, get out. It's about, and you can still honor things. But sometimes we get so caught up in our dogma. How you like my peace sign? I stole this from Rose's room. And we get all our stuff that we wear, and stuff is stuff, and stuff has vibration, it has meaning. But even with me and playing, and next week we're going to play with energy, so it's even funnier that I'm making fun of it this week. That it's still all good. It's still all something that we want to have fun with and utilize, just like as I'm utilizing this as a tool to hold my water. There's no oil in it right now, so I'll be okay. Use these different modalities as tools. But sometimes it's like, a couple years ago, got 3 now, Rose is going to be 10 in November, I did a rites of passage ceremony here for her on a Sunday. I wasn't even in the ministry yet, I was just speaking a lot. And we set it up real nice and had medicine, which in a Native American term is, you know, feathers or crystals or whatever, you know, a lot of people know what medicine is, all over the place. And I got stuck in the dogma of it because after everything was done, people were like, ooh, ah, and touching. And so I was like, ah, because of trying to honor my Native American brothers and sisters. It's kind of like when I was a good Catholic, we never let the palm touch the floor because it was like taboo, because the last time it touched the floor, he walked on it and all that jazz. And that's the dogmas that we're talking about that sometimes we get caught up into. And I just lost my train of thought. I don't do that often. Huh? Well, using the tools and the, like for us as Catholics who is palm, for us now it could be things like this, or it could be sage, or it could be like the sweat lodge I was just talking about. But all those, huh? Thank you. I love when people read my mind, because that was the punchline. That in that jazz of everybody touching medicine, Sue just happens to go, don't get too Catholic with it, and I knew exactly what she meant. That I was gotten stuck in my dogma, but I'm like, whatever, you're right, thank you, click free. The very next talk I did after that was, that's not my medicine, it's yours. Because it is all of ours. Every single sacred thing on this earth is all of ours, and it's all sacred. It's a human trait for us to want to adapt and make something an icon. And you can make it an icon all you want as long as you don't get too wrapped up in it. Popping the bubble on the rules of doing ceremonies, and do just ceremony for you, not God. You, not God. Or goddess, all that is. Do it for yourself, whatever that ceremony is, whatever flavor it is. You know, I've gained to appreciate some of the Catholic ceremonies a lot more now that I've left the religion and quit flogging myself with the dogma of it as I did as a good Catholic, not knowing that I was diligently flogging myself with dogma. But taking myself out of that and losing my religion as I have along the way, and then coming back and embracing these ceremonies and looking at the beauty and the wonder of them. And again, none of them were for God. None of them were for spirit. They were all for us. They were so that we can attain that higher feeling of feeling good. Let's just simplify things. Abraham does it all the time. Most important thing is that we feel good. And she, all the they are. We'll talk on and on about some science aspects of it, metascience, metaphysics, the laws of attraction and things like that, vortexes and all that fun stuff. But a bottom line premise is that we feel good. That is how we create the wonderful experience of our life that we want, that we feel good. Ceremonies are here to help us feel good, not feel bad because we stepped on the line. I was good a moment ago. I was all holy and everything. And then I stepped on that line, and now I'm unholy. I dishonored the spirits. You're the only person who can dishonor you. It's your intention is a big thing. We have to also pop the bubbles on how we expect each other to be spiritually, how we expect each other to show up. How you expect me to show up? I'm popping them all. I am going to show. I don't even know how I'm going to show up the next time. And I like that, because if I do know every time, it kind of means I'm getting canned inside myself. I'm getting locked in a box. The more I can be diverse within my own self and just show up different every single time, or choose to be whatever I want to be, and pop my own bubbles of how I show up. But as a minister, as anything, it's like, I've said this before, the word minister means to serve. That's it. So I'll serve you this in this moment. But I don't just serve on Sundays. Every single person in this room is a minister. What do you serve? What are you serving? And are you stuck in your dogma when you serve it so that when you deliver it, they're like, ugh, and you just got slimed. And you wonder why they didn't receive you. Because I know all this stuff spiritually. What if we just lived life every single moment, revering everything and everyone, and be as irreverent as you want? Can you marry those two in your mind together? Be irreverent. Make fun of it. I just made a Gandhi joke and a Buddha joke and a Jesus joke. It's all good. None of them would be offended by that. They're probably laughing energetically at the silliness of Mark or Machna. I haven't had enough donuts lately to be called Machna, so 4. And that's if you eat 2 with the left hand. It's always got to be in balance. Another bubble I'd like to pop is this sentence, spiritually fed. And it's my bubble. I'll own it as my bubble. You can pop yours if you want to. But from my perspective, if anyone is waiting till Sunday to be fed by me, anyone here, or anywhere else, then they're missing out on a lot of meals during the week. It's like there's so many opportunities that we have in every day of our life, every moment of our life, to be spiritually fed or to feed ourselves. It's like I was making jokes about this. I'm like, man, the last time we couldn't feed ourselves, we were 1. At 2, we were feeding ourselves. We were stuffing it in our mouth and getting it all over the place. And if we didn't like it, we spit it out. Now the only difference is you got to mop the floor. Bless you. That's the only difference. You're the cleanup committee now. So if you don't like it and you spit it out, clean it up. Just be aware of it. Just be aware of what you're eating, what you're feeding yourself. But you feed yourselves. You guys are in charge of your own destinies. And we're together in it. We're together in this journey. There's an opportunity every moment for us to feed ourselves something wonderful or something crappy. It's up to you. Judgment, feeding myself crap. Love, feeding myself wonder. It's all mine. I'm the one eating. No one, unless you're literally, someone's coming at you and shoving something in your mouth, then no one else feeds us anytime, anyway, anyhow. Pop the bubble of attaining higher spirituality and shoot for higher humanity. Again, your spirit's fine. We have no worries about what our spiritual bodies are. They're just hanging out, waiting for us to catch up. They're like, I'm right here, I'm right here, I'm right here, I'm right here. Where are you at? I'm right here. You left me. No, I didn't. You're not listening. There still is an energy thing that goes on in our body. There's still that radio stations and all this frequency stuff I'm always talking about. If you want to listen to spirit radio, which is still your radio, you still just got to tune in. But you're tuning into yourself. We always want to say that we're tuning into the ethers out there, but the ethers out there are the ethers in here. If we want to believe what we believe anyway, it's like, you're going to hear this in the song a moment ago, but it's like the joke of, does everyone here believe in reincarnation? Raise your hands. A couple people. If you don't, well, maybe you did in the past life. It's like, so it's like, So things like that is just being able to make fun of ourselves and have fun with who we are, what we think we know. Man, sometimes I've gotten so stuck in my knowing sometimes. I've tripped, Coyote walks with me daily and has my whole life. Because I've had a lot of neat things happen to me. When I had near-death experiences, they blew me wide open. And I think it's taken me this long to actually write my near-death experience book, because it wasn't about that. It was about all the crap that happened back down here once I got sent back home, 3D home. Because all those wonderful cosmic things that happened did affect me, but they coyoted me too, because I forgot how simple things really are. And that it's all about playing and having a good time and being in reverence with each other. Because as I look at Becky, I'm looking at myself. As I look at Julie and Kimmy and everyone in this room, I have to honor that I am looking at me. So if I'm going to revere you, I'm loving me back anyway. And if I revere me, I'm loving you back all at the same time. It's all right here, all now. Forget all the dogma and just enjoy our lives. So pop the bubble of how to show up and show up. Pop the bubble of how to be holy and be holy. Pop the bubble of having to wrap everything in a bubble and give the universe a day off. And if you want to send a bubble to the masters, send them a bubble of gratitude and love. You'll really make Gandhi's day. He'll be going up there and going, oh, look, it is a bubble of love and light. They're finally getting it. Thank you, Homotake Asan.
Everybody's got their own opinions of where we come from and where we go. In between, we got this thing called living. One day you're here and then it's on with the show. As far as I know, there ain't no dress rehearsal. So play your part the best that you can do. Live the truth and put your whole heart in it. Ain't no way to get a bad review. So quit your crying, the sky ain't falling. The sun is shining, ain't a cloud in sight. Can't you feel it? There's a big world calling. We've got one life to live unless the Hindus are right. Some people working so hard for a living, they haven't even got time for a life. So committed and future driven, they let the present just pass them by. It's a gift, that's why they call it the present. It's only here, right here and now. The past is history, the future's a mystery. Ain't no sense in worrying about it anyhow. So quit your crying, the sky ain't falling. The sun is shining, not a cloud in sight. Can't you feel it? There's a big world calling. We've got one life to live unless the Hindus are right. One life to live. One life to live. Whoa. Don't you know there's a big world a calling? We've got one life to live unless the Hindus are right. Some people preach about predestination. Others say it's just a roll of the dice. If you don't believe in reincarnation, who knows, maybe you did in another life. Maybe you and me, we used to party together. Two hip amoebas in a primal stew. This life's the only one I'm really sure of. So glad to meet you, how do you do? Might see you later in a deja vu. So quit your crying, the sky ain't falling. The sun is shining, ain't a cloud in sight. Can't you feel it? There's a big world calling. We've got one life to live unless the Hindus are right. One life to live. One life to live. Whoa. Holy cow, there's a big world calling. We've got one life to live unless the Hindus are right. one life to live unless the Hindus are right.